Hey everyone, it's Rebecca here from Vita Wellness, and I'm really excited today to be talking to Justin Batt, who's a wellness practitioner and professional. He's had a wellness practice and clinic for 30 years. He's done over 100,000 treatments, both hands on and using biofeedback. So, we're going to talk to Justin today about what he sees in the wellness industry, in health in particular, and as it might relate to a product like Nanofy, which we're going to be chatting about today, our incredible anti inflammatory drops. So, Justin, if you could just share a little bit about what you do, what your background is, that'd be great. And also just kind of what you kind of see is the application for a product like this in the wellness industry.
Yeah, thanks, Beck. We brought Nanofy in about a month ago after I trialled it on myself. And as I was speaking to you early days with it, I have to try everything myself to see how well it works. And it's the only way to go because you then see real results in action. We got it out to some family and friends and had them try it as well. And because I'd had a number of health issues from a number of years ago, through the years, I've tried many different products. And of course, you become a little bit cynical with that. But that's also great because you're a natural skeptic with everything, which means you're going in from a neutral viewpoint and you're then truly able to experience what results you get. And after about a week, I could tell there was massive change in my body. I hands on treat about 90 people a week. So I naturally form a lot of inflammation just through physically doing that every day. And I noticed after about a week that my inflammation had significantly dropped. But with that drop of inflammation was also an increase in energy. So I knew after about a week to 10 days that there was something really good going on with it. And then it just progressed from there. The types of treatment that I've got at the clinic are I developed a treatment called spinal balance, which is a combination of craniosacral therapy to align the spine and the pelvis. And that's combined with deep tissue muscle release. So I've been booked out with that for many years, but we've also got biofeedback technology that people get hooked up to. And it shows us where the nervous system's out of balance. And then we can run programs to bring the nervous system back into balance. So the Nanofy is a game changer in the sense that whether it be with the hands-on treatment or whether it be with the biofeedback technology, the number one thing that I've seen underlying pretty much everything that we treat is inflammation. And I've always called inflammation the roadblock to health and wellness because if you can't get past that roadblock, the other systems can't heal and reactivate. So getting rid of or lowering inflammation has been a key step. And so I've been looking for a long time for a product like the Nanofy, which is so specific for that and so powerful for that. So yeah, we've integrated that with great results so far and very excited to see where it takes us.
That's incredible. So you would say, as a wellness practitioner, that this is a really a good sort of tool in your toolkit to help um, people be able to manage their own inflammation.
Yeah. Well, it's not only an important tool in the toolkit, it's the most essential.
Right.
Because if you look at healing and regeneration and wellness, it's a sequence of events. So you can't get to B or you can't get to C till you've got to B and D and so forth because it's a sequence of healing. And as I said earlier, with that roadblock with inflammation, it means that these other healing sequences can't take place. Now, what that means is there's so many people that are then on 5 or 6 different products for various things because with inflammation in place, other systems can't heal and regenerate and they start to shut down. So then you need supplements specifically for all of those areas. But as you clear the inflammation or clear that roadblock, it allows those other systems to heal and regenerate. So what we're already seeing and what we are going to see with this is the average person who takes the Nanofy won't be on those 6 products. They might be on 1 or 2. Right. And that's massive because as I said to you with my experience, and I know this is the way that it works, is as we clear the inflammation, the energy comes back because you use up so much energy when you're inflamed because the body has to fight it. So, you know, when we've got a virus, we're exhausted because the body is working so hard to clear that virus. It's no different with chronic inflammation. The body has to overwork to try and clear it. And in doing so, it's exhausting itself. Now, what happens when we clear that inflammation? It allows healing, regeneration to come back, but your energy starts to come back, which is a great side effect of it.
Amazing. So, I mean, obviously you've trialed the product yourself and it's super easy to take. it comes in a drop format, so we just put that
Yep.
in straight on the tongue, or
Yep.
it can be used in a beverage. What do you feel like, just from your experience so far, because this is so important for anybody else who's in the wellness industry, talking about health professionals, people that treat clients, that provide therapeutic treatments to others. What do you find? How is this different to other things that you've seen?
Well, again, because most other things are treating what I call the secondary symptoms. So my whole philosophy through my whole wellness career has been what's primary and what's secondary. So if I'm doing a hands-on treatment and someone might have leg pain, but it's coming from their back and their hip, I don't even touch their leg. I correct their back and their hip and their leg is fine. It's the
Mm,
same thing. What is primary and what is secondary? So most things out there are secondary.
right.
We're starting now to use the Nanofy. We're going straight to the source, straight to the primary aspect. And again, you then don't have those other 6 or 7 symptoms that are created when inflammation is that roadblock that is then creating those other 6 or 7 symptoms to break down because they cannot heal and regenerate because there's inflammation in place. So the best way to explain it is we are now getting to the primary source of disease and illness. And when we look at that, geez, everything from autoimmune to digestion to headaches, migraines, lower back pain, mental illness. One area I'm fascinated with this is knowing that the majority of serotonin and dopamine, which is obviously those brain chemicals that make us feel great and feel good, they're produced in the gut and they go to the brain. Whereas where inflammation is present in the gut, those the dopamine, the serotonin cannot get to the brain. And what I've seen through the years, and I think it's even more prevalent now, is what we describe as mental illness, stress, anxiety, sleep problems, depression. Now, if we can start to restore the serotonin and the dopamine levels to the brain, we're going to see a massive switch in that. But you can see through that is that that's a secondary result, that imbalance, that chemical imbalance. The primary problem is through inflammation in the gut in particular. So that mental illness scope I see as huge because then so many people have a chemical imbalance and they're trying to restore that. Let's get back to restoring the underlying imbalance that is creating that in the first place.
So you're saying that hormone balance can be greatly affected by inflammation in the gut, and that we won't be able to have our feel-good hormones in our brain, serotonin,
Yep.
etc.
Well, you've got to look at the pathways and the sequences. So everything to do with the body is a sequence of events. So again, if that, what I did learn through some amazing experiences was that healing is actually like a mathematical equation and it has to flow. And as it flows, it falls into place. And that's what healing is. It's the natural flow. It's like a mathematical flow. If that flow is blocked at any point, everything beyond that point is in a state of dysfunction and imbalance. And think of that with inflammation. Again, it stops you in your tracks. And we're either at any given time, we're in 2 different states. We are either healing and regenerating, or we are inflamed and degenerating. So the key way to think of this is to switch those modes. So many people are currently in a mode where they are degenerating and they're inflamed. What the Nanofy will start to do, it will just switch that mode where you literally start to heal and regenerate. And that's the way to think of it, is that which mode am I in? So at any given time, and this way we're going to directly target that roadblock and remove it. And we are, through doing that, you create the healing flow to happen again. And when that happens, those other 5 or 6 products you were taking, there won't be a need for them because the energy is now able to move into those areas. And with our natural innate healing abilities, that will start to heal and regenerate, which up till now it can't because the energy can't get there because it's blocked where the inflammation is.
And what I think is really profound is that across the board, no matter how these manifestations of inflammation might be expressed through the body, people are reporting better sleep, increased energy, less pain, and more clarity. And those things, no matter really what the as I said, what the label of the health condition might be, those things are super important, and we're seeing very fast results with that. Have you also you sort of experienced that in terms of that for yourself and your clientele?
Well, again, we've only started using it recently with clientele, but I've used it with family and friends and on myself. And again, what I saw straight away was feedback that there was greater energy, but the pain had come down. Again, remember that relationship between inflammation and energy.
Mm.
So the more inflamed you are, the less energy you'll have because your resources are being used up fighting that inflammation. So it's exhausting. It's exhausting physically and mentally. One thing I can see through having completed over 100,000 treatments over 30 odd years is that people who have pain are in a state of exhaustion as well because it's worn them down physically and mentally. And what we're going to see with this now, and remember, a lot of the time, I'm a practitioner. I don't look for overnight results. Like if someone comes onto this product, which we see, and then after 3 days they've lost their headaches that they've had for 20 years, I think great. But I'm more into a system and a process where what we want to see over time is think of it like a seesaw, where you've got inflammation here and you've got energy here. What we want to see is as that lowers, that raises, and that's the way it works because it releases our available energy because we're not using it up, trying to fight the inflammation constantly.
Amazing. So is there any application you think or any person that wouldn't be able to take this shouldn't take it? Do you think it's universal?
Well, our systems all work in the same sequence, like they all are set up the same way, but they manifest. The difference is we all have innate weaknesses within our system, and that will then dictate how illness or disease manifests with that individual, but the principles remain the same. So you know how we said if there's inflammation present, you may have 5 or 6 other things going on. That will be unique to that individual because they have their own genetic makeup and their own weaknesses within their system. The principle remains the same. If you start to remove the inflammation, think of it this way: remove inflammation and activate healing. Now, that will then manifest with you differently to someone else. So, for example, someone may get headaches from that, from those imbalances and from that inflammation. Someone else might get Crohn's disease. Someone else might have depression. So it's a manifestation, but the source of it remains very similar in that you cannot heal up those parts of the body or those parts of the system while the inflammation is present. So the most essential thing we can do at any given time is clear inflammation. And as we clear that inflammation, let the body's natural healing abilities take place because inflammation is what has stopped that from happening.
That's fantastic. Thanks so much for your thoughts on the product and on inflammation in general. Any final things you'd like to say about the product or to anybody that's kind of thinking about whether they might want to try it or not?
Yeah, and what's been different for me with this one is that we have used brilliant products. Like we use the best of the best available. We go and source and find. What I've found in the past is that it's quite specific. I'll say, take this for this and then take this for this. But what I've found through that is we are having to treat these different systems post-inflammation. Inflammation's present. So then we have to go off and be quite specific. With this, what I can see is we're going to be able to get rid of a lot of those other products because we're now going to go to the source and clear the inflammation and then let the body's healing abilities have the energy, because the energy will then be available to those systems that was not previously available. So to sum that up, what I'm saying with that is we'll pretty much just say to everyone, have this as your baseline product. So this is your baseline. And then if you need to refine it a little bit after that, that's great. But don't worry about the secondary products until you get the primary sorted. So think of the Nanofy like your primary essential base product. And then from there, if you need a little bit more refinement, you can go that way. But you'll find you'll need a lot less of that once you get your inflammation under control.
Amazing. Awesome. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah. No worries, Beck. Thank you.